I want to welcome and thank everybody for checking out our first edition of Ghost Chatter presented by HauntedOrange.com. We'll be presenting a different interview every month on the paranormal, for the most part focusing on the city of Orange, in particular the Old Town Plaza District. My name is Ernie Alonzo, creator of the Haunted Orange website, and it is my pleasure to have on my first interview Dennis Caldwell, owner of Chapman Antiques here in Orange. Hey Dennis, glad to have you on today.
Thank you to be here, Ernie. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, I want to start off by talking a little bit about the structure here. I know that it was built back in 1925.
Correct.
And if you can take it from there and kind of fill us in on what it's been used for throughout the years.
Very good. Well, it's been one of the iconic buildings in what's known as Old Town Commercial District down here. You're right, it was built in 1925. Originally as the Oddfellows Fraternal Organization Lodge.
Okay.
The second and third stories of the building are still belonging to a fraternal organization known as the Elks. And downstairs here has always been a commercial venue for whoever owned the building. And over the years, in the 20s, it used to be a co-op when they used to bring the vegetables in from all around Orange. And it was Henry's Market at one time in the early 20s. Over the years, it's been an automobile dealership, believe it or not. And for 1950s to the 1970s, it was a Matthews Furniture, which was a very well-known furniture store here.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of that.
Been around here a long time. And then most recently, from around 1975 to 2001, it was the iconic Orange Sporting Goods
Orange
stores.
Sporting Goods. I used to come here when I was a kid.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of folks did, and they were sorry to see it leave. But since 1975 to 2001, the Orange Sporting Goods store, and from 2002 to today, it's been Chapman Antique Mall.
Great, great. So you and your wife took it over right after the Orange Sporting Goods left.
That's correct. They were gone for just a few months, and we had a unique opportunity to speak with the Elks, get a chance to come in, and everything that you see here today, we had a chance to build out. And actually, we're starting our 9th year in September, so we're very, very happy. It's a great town to be in. We love the history. We just love the city of Orange, so it's a great place.
Now, what condition did you find the building when you started? Did you have to do a lot of renovation when you came in?
Well, surprisingly enough, the Orange Sporting Goods store had left decades of old shelves and fixtures in here that had to be removed.
Okay.
So within 30 days of signing our lease, we were able to take everything out of here, have the entire inside painted, which hadn't been painted in probably 25 years. And we were able to build up our booths and open for business 30 days after signing our lease. So we went nonstop, sun up to sundown.
Full blast.
Well, we were anxious to get going. So, but for the most part, as you see it, is as the building has always been all of these years.
Okay, great. Also, I wanted to mention that Dennis and his wife Kathy are avid collectors of antiques, and your home was actually featured in the February issue of Victorian Homes magazine.
That's correct.
So what a great opportunity to showcase your collection and your hard work. What was that like, being featured in that?
We were extremely flattered and very humbled. The Victorian Homes magazine is a national magazine, and we've always enjoyed those issues on a monthly basis. We've always loved the Victorian era. I really think my wife and I are probably definitely out of place in the 20th century, much less today's 21st century. But I think we were probably old souls that probably would like to stay back in the Victorian era. So as a result, we live in a 124-year-old Victorian Queen Anne. We're here in the historical district, just 3 blocks down the street. And it's one of the only surviving Queen Anne Victorians here in the city of Orange. And it was built in 1886 for Mr. Frank Leavenworth, who came out here from New York, as many investors did, to start with a great real estate boom, and he went on to become a merchant right here in the Plaza District, selling furniture of all things, after the first real estate boom busts.
Yeah.
So we had a chance to purchase his house. We're the 13th owner of the Leavenworth home, and we're very, very pleased. And the Victorian Home magazine had their eye on it, unbeknownst to us, and they had a chance to come in and visit with us. Owning an antique mall, as you can imagine, we have first dibs on authentic, real quality antiques as they come into the market. So we were able to fill our entire home with authentic Victorian
Wow.
antiques. So it's a lot of fun,
Great.
and we're very pleased.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about your home? We're talking about the paranormal, and that home is
124 years.
124 years, so it's got quite a history, I'm sure. Any kind of paranormal activity going on in the house there, or anything interesting happening there?
As you can imagine, back in those days, people were born in the homes and people passed away in the homes. And we've had both of those in our home.
Okay.
We've had a chance to do extensive research over the years and found all of the 13 people who had lived, the 13 families that had lived continuously from 1886 to the present. We had some folks who were psychic mediums come by our house when we first purchased it, and they had a chance to come in and sit down, and before we actually moved all the furniture in. And they spent about 2.5, 3 hours going through the home, and they had a chance of recapping what they felt, which really kind of reinforced what my wife and I were sensing. We sensed that there are presence in the house. We felt very embraced in a warming sense when we first looked at the house before we bought it. My wife says now that she's convinced the house bought us rather than us buying the house. The longer we were in the house, the more she fell in love with it. And we would, to this day, we still smell lavender perfume that will whiff through the house. In towards the back of the house, we'll smell a gentleman's pipe on occasion. We brought our 2 cats with us, and you know a lot of animals, particularly cats, can be sensitive to vibrations around them. Our cats were always very, very quiet and very sort of laid back. They talked to each other nonstop for the first 2 weeks they were in the house.
And when you say talk to each other, you're talking...
Communicate back and forth out loud, look around the house, walk up and down the stairs, look at things, say something, look at each other and talk. So all I can suspect, and they had never done that before, I can just simply suspect perhaps they were feeling the presence or communicating with whoever or whatever was in the house.
Wow.
But we really felt very pleased. We actually sat down one evening and spoke out loud in the house, saying that we would be, our promise was to take care of the house, continue on with its legacy, and that we were happy to be the new owners of the house and respect it for what it is and how long it's been around. So we sort of made peace with the spirits that we know that are there.
Great.
So it's been great. But a lot of the homes around here you'll find have activity of one degree to another.
Now, a lot of our viewers may not be privy to some of the ghost stories involved in this particular part of the building upstairs. So I know a little later on we're going to go down into the basement, and that's where most of the activity happens. But anything interesting up here, Dennis? I know that about a year ago I came in with a small group, and we did a walkthrough and we looked at some of the spaces where some of the psychics had picked some things up. What can you tell us about the top floor up here of what customers and employees alike have experienced?
Well, there's definitely a feeling here in the building. The fact that we have it populated with antiques, which were former well cared for heirlooms of people who are now gone. And if you sense that those spirits belong to and those energies surround these things, we're loaded in spades, if you will, with that. And we've had a number of over the last 8 years, we've had a number of people that would come up to us and say, "Lovely store, I have to leave."
Really?
Why? Are you all right? Is there something wrong? Well, don't you feel it? Don't you hear it? And I ask them, hear what? Feel what? Well, I'm hearing voices talk to me as I move down the aisles. I'm sensing a presence over here in this corner. I have to leave.
And this is during regular daylight hours?
Regular business hours, regular business hours. As you walk around these stores, you'll find that every item we have here has a price tag on it. And one of the things that we had noticed, particularly in this corner over here, over my shoulder, was that we could never keep the price tags on any of the merchandise in this area back over here. We couldn't figure out why. We thought, well, maybe kids would come in and take it off and play around, or maybe they weren't adhered to correctly. We could never figure out why. So we were always writing brand new